in the morning, you got me up all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, this kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say, we gon' be okay, we just gotta boom bada boom ba. I don't wanna fight, you know that I'm right, baby let me talk to your body. We gon' be okay, hear me when I say.
I've said in the past that a hopeless man is a broken man, and a broken man is a dangerous man. Listen to this. There's been a lot of consternation in these YouTube streets between two juggernauts. On the left, you have K.Samuels. On the right, you have Myron Gaines of Fresh and Fit podcast. Listen, there are some men in this space that are actually living behind avatars. And they're living behind avatars due to some of the brokenness of the past. And because of that brokenness and not going through their successive psychosocial stages of development, they can create personas that are actually needed to help form what I call narcissistic traits. Now listen, narcissistic traits does not mean that a person is a bona fide narcissist. Many people use that term and throw that term around due to ignorance. But however, something is steaming in these YouTube streets as it relates to Myron Gaines, as he appears to be accosting K.Samuels for exhibiting narcissistic traits. But it appears that it may not be K.Samuels, but it appears that it's actually Myron Gaines. Because based on a show that I saw today by the lead attorney, we had a guest, the brother by the name of Authentic Alphas. He was talking about some of the machinations that Myron Gaines or aspersion that he had towards him. One of the greatest indictments in this space is that sometimes as men rise to the next level, they become to get what I call an exaggerated ego. And many times, unfortunately, these men are not the icons of the men that they actually project. But I'm going to do an expose at some point, and I'm going to do a critical examination. And in that examination, it appears to be warfare going on around with some of the men in this space. The tenets of theology say we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and power. But Flip Wilson said it better than me. He said, the devil made me do it. Did the devil make Myron Gaines call out K.Samuels? Or was more or less Myron Gaines complicit of his own arrogance? We're going to explore this thing from various angles very soon. And we're going to look at another clip from another brother that more or less, contextualizes what's going on between this ongoing strife in this space. A space that has a lot of potential as it relates to male rights issues appears that it could be under attack. And while it's under attack, what are the ramifications long term as I seek and many men seek to bring men together based on pain and solace? As a clinical therapist, it's my job to empower men. It's my job to give men hope outside of the parameters of this United States, as many times men don't have the love, admonition, and consideration. But I want you to enjoy this show because I'm going to bring it to you soon, which is in this premiere. But I want you to enjoy the future show that I plan to do and understand that there's hope outside of the confines of America, but also there's hope within the context of your pain. And listen, if you're dealing with pain, please email me at kosherclinician@gmail.com. That's kosherclinician@gmail.com. And I'm going to get non-diagnostic clinical consultation. Now listen, a non-clinical diagnostic consultation is not a bona fide diagnosis, but it does circumnavigate around some of the triggers or some of the symptoms that you're having. And I'm going to help you circumnavigate around those things. So I want to encourage you guys, and I want you to look at this, get prepared for this show that I'm going to do at some point. And I want you guys to remember this. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. There are 7 steps that a man must go through in order to become an optimized male. Male mental health and male physical health is paramount to the efficacy of a man. Be well and enjoy. All right, can you guys hear me? We're about to start. All right, so we're going to start in a minute. Thanks, before the billions. We're going to start in a minute. But listen, guys, I want to ask you guys the question as I bring this clip on in a minute. Is there a war going on in the manosphere? And if there is a war, what's causing this war between Fresh and Fit, Myron Gaines, and also K.Samuels? In this show, we're going to talk about if there's a war, are there people in this space that are trying to cause division between this space? Because you know, and I know this space is growing, and it's growing to a point of epic proportion. And so we're going to have a conversation about this. Actually, I'm going to start the clip now, right now. Hold tight. What the fuck is the volume is not on this thing? Oh my God. Can you guys hear it? All right, guys, hold tight. I got to get this clip. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about this discussion. I'm trying to. This clip is not burning for some reason. We can hear you, but not the clip. But anyway, I'm gonna bring the clip up at some point. But there appears to be a war going on in the manosphere, and guys, the link is here. So make sure you guys click on the link while I'm trying to get this technicality started. But there appears to be a war going on in the manosphere between Myron Gaines and the Godfather K.Samuels. And I want to pose the question: what's causing this strife in this space? And do you think because we're growing at such a epic level that there are people behind the scene that are trying to destroy this movement? Now, I want to ask you guys the question. This is a video that a guy did. Do you think K.Samuels is complicit based on what Myron Gaines is saying? Or do you think Myron Gaines is using a technique called displaced aggression? So the link is in the text. Click on the link at some point. And as we're having this conversation, we're going to figure out why or is there a war in the Black manosphere? And if there is a war, who's actually causing this war? And if there's a war, what can be done about it? Because unfortunately, you know, a lot of the brothers in this space appear not to get the things that they want. So as soon as I get this link, I want somebody to click on the link in the text, and we're going to have a discussion. So click on the link in the text. Let's have a discussion. What's going on with Myron Gaines and K.Samuels? Hold tight. So in the meantime, guys, we're going to invite one or two guys to come in and talk until I find this link, and let's have a discussion. Click on the link. To the ones that are listening, click on the link in the chat, and let's have this discussion. And listen, you know, one of the things I have with this space is that some of the main guys that actually are trying to sell a product to some of the younger men are not living up to the things themselves. Myron Gaines, for example, talks about game and the importance of game. But then you got to ask yourself the question: is Myron Gaines is talking about game and the importance of game and the importance of game? Why is he selling, or more or less telling, you know, shaming guys to travel abroad? You know, I just came back from Brazil recently. You know, me and a couple of brothers just came back from Brazil recently. Shout out to my man Chris Strongart, and we came out from Brazil recently. And it appears that some of the men in this space are actually trying to shame other men. But on the flip side, we got issues with it appears to be a lot of these guys are actually using a concept called usury, where they're using guys or more or less charging exorbitant fees for services. Now, listen, I don't have a problem with someone charging for a fee. I don't have a problem with it. But when you start charging the common man an excessive fee for services, I think they said Myron Gaines charged $1,000, and then he charged, I think Gerald Wisdom was saying about $1,100 to $12,000 to come on the show. I got a problem with it. So I want you guys to join into the discussion and give some insight to what do you feel about this whole thing with K.Samuels and discussion. Myron Gaines, hold tight. All right, so Chris, how you doing, brother? What's going on, man? We're gonna chop up some comprehensive game. And Chris, listen, you know, we dropped the link earlier and we talked about it. What's your take on this whole fiasco with Myron Gaines and K.Samuels? What's your take, Chris?
First off, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you perfect.
Yeah, well, I mean, right now it just looks like it's this whole thing has been a debacle, man. It's been crazy, definitely to say the least. I've heard people talk about it seems like people are drawing sides within the manosphere. People are trying to take more of a game route versus this kind of like more along the lines of like Fresh and Fit versus K.Samuels perspective. I don't necessarily see that, to be honest. From what I see is just kind of like it has always been nuance within the manosphere space. There's always been brothers who've had their own opinion.
Right.
I see that we are seeing a disagreement between two popular YouTubers within the space. But I see that there are others who are trying to now, it seems like, take their shots within the sphere. Or not within the sphere, but people are trying to take their shots now and like bring shame against the manosphere overall just because we're having a disagreement. Like I said, we're infighting, right. Like I said, like this is a disagreement between brothers. Like we're all manosphere within this environment and understanding. We're all on a similar accord. And then people who are outside of the space are now trying to take shots. They're trying to see this as an opportunity to come in here and start trying to be destructive and tear it down from the inside. You know what I mean? Like the allegations that are getting thrown at Myron, it's not to say that some are not legit, but there are some people who are starting to kind of like, blow some things up bigger than what they are. I mean, like I was just watching Lead Attorney a while ago, and I think the last live he did where he had what's her name on there? I can't remember her name. He was calling her Gray, the OnlyFans chick up there, and he was just kind of like, "Well, are you going to show proof of your pregnancy?"
Right.
He said that you're coming on live right now and you're sitting a certain way because, you don't want to, because you're showing, but you don't want to show people on the camera that you're showing. Also, you don't want to show Myron proof of the pregnancy. Also, you don't want to go forward with any of these allegations until you get ready. So it's just kind of like your credibility is starting to wane a little bit. And even the lead attorney was just like, your credibility right now with me has gone to zero. And he pretty much, after that, he just got her off the show. He didn't waste his time because he saw a disagreement or a discrepancy within her story. And literally that's what he was talking about as his whole opener was just like, as an attorney, I'll let you talk, or even law enforcement, they'll let you talk. Yeah, Ms. Cheeks, they'll let you talk. And then when they start to hear discrepancies in your stories, that's when the cuffs will come out. And that is exactly what lead attorney did. And he acted on that whole entire, that mindset. So what I see right now within the sphere is that even though I don't necessarily agree with how Fresh and Fit are moving, I've always said that. I said I disagree with how they're moving. I see the cataclysm, and many people who are seeing through their BS was just kind of like, you guys are kind of being, a bit much with all the theatrics and antics that y'all are doing. It's not to say that what they're saying is necessarily untruthful as far as the as far as the red pill logic, we'll say, or female awareness and stuff like that, that's not wrong. And they actually are giving guys good advice in that regard, but they didn't create that. That didn't come from them. What authentically is them is how they move, how they operate in their platform.
Right.
And that's what people are criticizing. That's why I say people who are now trying to attack the whole manosphere and red pill understanding need to fall back and pump the brakes, because now you're getting into a territory to where you threaten the whole manosphere overall. You know what I mean? So, and I think that's what K.Samuels was doing when he addressed them. I don't know if it was his last live stream, but one of his last live streams where in the beginning, he spoke about the whole story of Icarus and how y'all were moving. So brothers within the manosphere within the manosphere. Brothers within the manosphere are most certainly speaking against how they're moving, but not against the logic of the sphere. So I feel like it's more or less a war with, or if it's going to be a war, I feel like it's more or less this people on the outside of the sphere are seeing this as an opportunity to attack.
Right.
And I think that those within the space need to chastise Myron and Fresh and Fit, the whole chastise him, but also at the same time defend the morals in everything that has been built upon within this whole sphere.
Well, the consternation is that, people are Myron, and it appears that Myron from Fresh and Fit is upset because he feel like the people that are attacking him with some of the things that he's doing wrong, he actually have receipts on the things that they are doing wrong as well. And so what it sounds like to me, that's what Myron's greatest point of recollection is, that a lot of the guys that are more or less throwing shade at him, they got dirt. So the whole crux of this video, whenever I get it, is that I guess he's saying that K.Samuels was not always, accompanying them with their shows. And we're going to talk about that, man, because listen, the greatest servant in my mind is the servant teacher. Sounds like you got something in the back, Chris. But the servant teacher in my mind is the greatest person. When a man can learn to be a servant to another man, that helps him take things to the next level. But Chris, I want to ask you a question. Do you think there's arrogance in this space? And do you think some of these men that actually say they got a love for the brotherhood actually have ulterior motives?
I definitely see arrogance. I mean, I think we're all starting to see the arrogance on display at the highest level. I mean, I think we all have egos to a certain degree, but I mean, as it's being displayed right now, how we're looking at, this situation between Myron, or essentially Myron and Kevin, as we're speaking on that. Myron's arrogance, got to him, and a lot of people who work with him behind the scenes are really starting to speak out on it. The brother Allende was the one who rolled up on him and actually showed up, to the apartment, looking for the smoke. And he was the one who was literally working with Myron hand in hand. And, even his own boys behind the scenes are starting to say, hey, bro, your ego is getting the best of you. So there's definitely a destructive nature as far as arrogance and the whole, mindset of how some of these brothers is moving. It's really starting to tear them down. And, do they have the best interests? Is their interest, lying in, brothers overall? Are they who they say they are, basically? I don't have any insider intel directly, but I can say that based off what I've seen, I know that at the end of the day, everybody wants to make money. They want to turn a profit.
Right.
And as it has, as we're seeing from Fresh and Fit, I feel as though charging $1,000 just to try to tell dudes how to text young women better and all this other stuff is just like, come on, man. There's a certain audience that is really going for that. And right. I feel like they're taking advantage of that audience to a degree because they're really dealing with a lot of younger guys who are otherwise wouldn't be as confident or successful with women. And it's just like, bro, you're not going to really fool anybody who's older, who's out here, who's being successful or self-confident, and they know how to move with women. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're only going to be able to run that game on certain type of dudes who get ran game on by women. You know what I mean? And I heard the brother Allende make a great analogy talking about how there's certain group of guys that they're being able to run these scams on are the same type of guys that the OnlyFans girls run these scams on. So they're basically dragging from the same pool of dudes, pulling the wool over their eyes. That's why I said, like the OnlyFans girls that they bring onto the show. I've said that point before. I've said you want to sit here and make these girls seem like they're no good and they're trash, they're this, they're that, but they're on your show every night.
No, I agree. Can you hear me, Chris? Can you hear me? Is your mic? You there, Chris?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Right, I can hear you. Now, my man, Mr. Stewart said that Kevin flicked out. I'm about to bring the video up in a minute. But this is what I feel. As a clinical therapist, I feel like some of these guys, if they're not bona fide narcissists, they do have some narcissistic traits. And so my whole point is this, yes, everybody in this space want to make money in the pursuit, hopefully, of helping other men. I don't have an issue with the spirit of capitalism to say. But like you were saying, if you're going to capitalize on people at such a great extreme, one of the guys, J.R. Wisdom, said that these guys are more or less asking for $11,000, or more or less saying you got to have $11,000 just to come on the show. And my whole point is, are you trying to help black men become better, or do you feel like you're so great that they got to kiss your behind? And so I have a problem with that, because this space is supposed to be the antithesis to some of the things you see with a lot of preachers. A lot of men came to this space because they felt like preachers are exploiting them. But the question remains, are some of these men actually exploiting others? That's the question. What's your take on that?
I think that it's highly possible.
Yes,
from what we see. Like I said, I think that there is a certain demographic of men who feel like they need to go out and buy all these game guru packages, formulas, whatever they sell. I don't buy it. I don't know. Like I said, Myron and these guys, they sell these guys on like what to get, or they sell them on like how to text and all this other stuff. And I'm just kind of like, come on, man, that's actually kind of game goofy, especially versus what we saw when he was talking to Anna Quinn Fitness. It's just like, bro, like, come on, man, you're teaching these guys one thing, but you're not really showing the receipts behind that. I mean, right. Especially how you handled that situation when you were talking to her directly. I mean, and then to backtrack on it and say, oh, well, maybe that wasn't the best thing, that I should have done. I handled myself or carried myself. It's just kind of like, man, I mean, I haven't bought anybody's courses, so I don't know specifically. The only reason I know what Myron Gaines and these dudes are selling is because everybody's been talking about it. Like, I don't know about other guys like K.Samuels, his consultations and stuff like that. I don't know what Kev is selling as far as his his stuff, his packages, whatever. I know that Kev basically does like consultations. And I'm like, all right, well, for people that feel like they need to talk to Kev on some consultation vibes, I guess. But I don't know. I just feel like what are you really kind of getting out of that?
Right. Chris, I got the clip. We're gonna start it, man. Hold tight.
All right.
We're gonna talk.
Things are running a little bit behind schedule.
So this is the clip.
Audio.
So this is the clip. So I want you guys to listen to this, brother. Listen to what this clip is saying, what they're saying. I want you guys to give me your interpretation. All right.
All for a live show, it takes time. So for us to have a time set, and then Kevin says, hey, man, you know what? I would like for you guys to start a little bit later because I'm starting this time. You know what, Kevin? We respect you. We're going to push our show back 2 hours. We're just sitting here. Go. Yo, and imagine girls waiting here for 2 hours for a show to start.
I have to babysit them the whole time, drinks, talk to them. Most of the girls have to work tomorrow morning, have stuff to go to. So, hey, Chris, when the show's beginning, blah, blah, blah. And I have to play that role where it's like, look, girls, I'm sorry, but this has happened, boom, boom, boom. Me and Myron explained it to you many times. Today, I understand. And some girls left. Like, we had 2 girls leave at one point. So it's like, we have to entertain a whole house full of women. And meanwhile, I was like, for who? It's our platform.
So we pushed back the show for Kevin.
Multiple times.
And then you guys have to wait. The girls gotta wait. We gotta wait. And then
you say, oh, guys, why you late? Oh, never on time, blah, blah, blah. Well,
so behind the scenes, guys, you don't see everything. So Kevin is definitely trying to tell us when to do our show. And respectfully, you were here first. However, hey, Kevin, we need time to figure this out because obviously, we want to go with the girls. You guys schedule them. It takes time. No response. It's only when he wants something he responds to us. But when we,
Chris, what's your take on that? What this guy's saying? What does that sound like to you, Chris?
I mean, at this point, it sounds like bad business.
Right.
I mean, it sounds like they're trying to say towards Kev that, you know, Kev is being arrogant with what he is doing. I mean, to be completely honest, I don't, you know, it sounds really kind of just confusing for the most part. It sounds like Kev has also, you know, left them hanging as well for reasons I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it seems like even Kev was acting a little bit, you know, like, you know, he was in his feelings about something.
Right.
Like I said, I don't have 100% background information. We only know what the videos are showing us so far, and even Kev just kind of, we don't. It's like who hit first, you know what I mean? It's like who did what first, and at this point, we don't know. We got Myron, because like when I originally saw the clip of Myron talking about, oh well, you know, don't bring his name up over here. Don't say his name. That's disrespectful. Don't bring him up on our podcast and stuff like that.
Right.
It was kind of like, yo, where did that come from? And to me, I thought, what did Kevin do? Because that didn't just come out of nowhere. Something transpired. You know, something happened to where Kev apparently, you know, upset these dudes. And based off what they're saying is that they tried to work with Kev, and they're saying that, you know, Kev wasn't answering their calls. They left messages like, Kev, you know, all right, we pushed our show back. We waited 2 hours, you know, like, you know, what's the deal? And apparently he just stopped talking to him. Like, you know, it sounds like there's a little bit of drama on both sides of the water here, because everybody just wants to beat up on Fresh and Fit, and I'm not defending them, but I mean, here we go. We got to look at what I mean. So what's the issue with Kev? Like, you know, what exactly happened? You know?
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. Let's finish listening. You're correct. Let's finish listening.
we say, hey, Kevin, can we work this out where we could do a time on show? No response. So what do we have to do? We're forced to do a show whenever we want, because now you don't want to compromise our respond to us. How can we work this out?
Yeah, he stopped responding to us. We tried to work with him, guys.
We tried, man.
We really did try to work with him.
And look,
we made a lot of concessions for him. We took down our clips for him.
Yep.
When he did the debate with Amanda, and he debated the other girl, we took the clips down so that he can have exclusive rights to those clips for his channel. We took those down. We moved our show back, and he would never respond to our calls or never respond to our texts. He said he was going to come to Miami in May. You guys are all my witness.
Yep.
He said he was going to come. He never came. When we called him, he was ignoring us. We finally were able to get him on a call. Hey, Kevin, when are we going to do this collab? People are asking. It's going to be lit. Let's make it happen. He never gave us a straight answer, and he started ignoring our calls, ignoring the text. So what can we do? At this point, he's ignoring us. So I'm looking at it like, well, if you're going to ignore us and not respond to us, then we're just going to go back to doing what we were doing, because we made all these concessions for you, but you can't even respond to us. So we're just going to do what we do. And here's the thing. I have no problem with Kevin. We have no personal issue with Kevin, but those are the facts.
Yep.
We tried to work with him. We didn't purposely put the show at 10 to battle him. We pushed our show back on multiple occasions for him. And you guys are my witness for that. And then we called him and said, hey, are you going to come on May? He didn't answer the question. He avoided us. He didn't answer anything. The only time he will call me, guys, is when he wanted me to take down the clips, or he needed something from me. He never called me for anything else. And that's the goddamn truth. And it hurts me to even say this on the air, but that's what it is.
And I want to say this now. Many other creators feel the same way. And real talk, man, I'm be honest here. We wish Kevin the best, 100%. But if you don't respond, how can we work things out? So that's how it is,
That's
man.
simply what it is, guys.
All right.
We tried. He didn't respond. Okay, we're going to go back to 10 o'clock. That tells me basically, like, fuck you guys.
Yep, literally.
So
why are they talking that cadence? You tried? Did he respond?
All right, so Chris, what's your take on it, bro? What's your take on this whole fiasco? What's your take?
Like I said, man, like it just seems like there was a miscommunication on both sides, both parties. I mean, we got, you know, Fresh and Fit. Like I said, they tried to work with Kev, and it seems like from the way they're framing it, that Kev basically just kind of bailed off on him. You know, he just kind of bailed out on him, just kind of left him hanging. I don't know any other intel based off what they're saying. Anything outside of what we've seen in the video so far, We don't know. Like, we haven't necessarily seen Kevin give a response to that, you know, because he hasn't came out and said, because Kev's, you know, he says he's on vacation. So I assume Kevin's going to come back and possibly explain that. But right now, we can't really call exactly for what reasons that Kev has, you know, done that. Essentially, if he left him hanging, you know, then it is what it is. Like, why would you do that? Like I said, even O'Shea was talking about he has more receipts, or he said that he understands why Auburn and Preach not rocking with him originally and all kind of stuff. So apparently there's even more to this story, man. Apparently there's even more going on. Like, it's just like, oh man, this whole thing has been messy ever since it popped off. But like I said, I saw it coming. Me personally, I saw it coming. That's why I wasn't really watching these dudes. Like, when I first started seeing how they were moving, I was just kind of like, when they started constantly doing the whole thing with the rotation of the girls, like kicking the girls out and, you know, making a fool out of them. Like, me personally, understand that the whole manosphere, the red pill content, or the things that are being taught are more or less kind of like a defense mechanism for like knowledge. It's like, it's awareness. It's not an attack weapon. It's not to go out here, drag girls off the street and tell her how much of a slut she is. It's just like, no, these are guidelines and tools to understand how you should best move and be aware of tactics that women will use and how you can use that in your favor depending on the type of woman you're messing with. You know, their whole formula of just dragging women off the street and then basically cornering them and then kind of like, you know, putting them in a situation where she needs to either defend herself or act out to where he's going to kick her off the show. It's just kind of like, bro, you're moving completely the wrong way with the knowledge, bro. You are literally bringing the wrong attention to the knowledge. And the fact that we have heard now that, once again, these are his people talking. Like I said, Ayande just dropped knowledge over on the Lead Attorney's channel talking about how Myron behind the scenes don't care about nobody. He's all about his money. You know, he dudes in his own circle he's screwing over. So what does that say for how much he might really care for the guys who listen to him?
Right.
So it's just kind of like, once again, you got to have that self-confidence and that mindset as a man to say, I don't need this type of guy, this person, you know, telling me how to move. Like, Myron Gaines really shouldn't be that type of, like, you should be looking at this dude as some type of role model. Like, come on, man, real. Like, I guess maybe guys who are a little older see straight through it. Just kind of like, come on, bro. But we'll let y'all rock because we know, hey, y'all getting your money, whatever. But now that they're starting to cross over their own men or over their own guys or men within the space, because they're bringing destruction to their own platform, the guys within the platform are starting to turn against them. Men within the manosphere are starting to say, hey, y'all are bringing bad light to the whole entire sphere. You know, this is something that is starting to bring chaos, everything that deals with either calling itself red pill or manosphere. Right. I mean, and it's just like, and that's not what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, you know, to use a Star Wars reference, I like to get in, you know, I like to use Obi-Wan, how he told Anakin. He said, you were supposed to bring balance to the Force, Anakin, not destroy it. You know what I'm saying? So I see Kevin Samuels is like Obi-Wan talking to young Anakin, Myron Gaines, saying, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing?
But I think Myron's point of contention is that he probably feels like people attacked him. So, okay, since you guys want to attack me, now I'm going to attack you. But the problem is that Myron has more issues against him than his allegation against Kevin Samuels. And it's unfortunate, man, because, you know, this space should be to empower men. And we're beginning to get a lot of traction to the point that a lot of people probably might be plants to try to subvert the movement of this space. Hold tight. Let's finish what this content creator is saying. Hold tight.
Come on, guys. You hear me, guys? It should be so
$5. McKay Wells. Do you think it was an organized attempt to bring you down? If you forgive, now they can't talk tomorrow. I don't know, man.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
As a matter of fact, I texted Kevin a couple of weeks ago, guys, and I tried to extend the olive branch. You know what? Fuck this, man. Because I don't want you guys thinking like, oh, Fresh and Fit were talking shit and they didn't try.
Nigga mad.
Facts, man. Straight facts.
Oh, wow.
Straight facts. Kevin.
You read it?
Yep.
Kevin, I'd like to stand a peace offering and business proposition. Right now, FNF is the hottest podcast in the world. The only other major podcasts with more views are Vlad, No Jumper, Timcast, and Rogan.
Right.
All these guys have millions of subs and barely beating us at the moment with 294K subs. That was back then. We consistently hover between 14 and 15 million views a month. I'd happy to fly you out to Miami to collaborate. If we team up for an after-hour show, the girls, we will break the internet, right? So this is Myron, by the way, from Fresh and Fit. No response. And what date was that?
July 3rd.
July 3rd. So we did.
It was some more
So-
text messages. We're
I
gonna read that.
can't
Hold
fucking
on.
say.
We're gonna try to back that up a little bit and look at that part.
So we did. July 3rd. By the way, from Fresh and Fit.
I'm also willing to allow you to dual stream so you don't lose the content for your channel and collect super chats real time from your account while dual streaming. Let's work and take over. No point in us competing. This is Myron by the way from Fresh and Fit. Obviously K.Samuels feels some type of way. He did not respond to his message at all.
No response. And what date was that?
July 3rd.
July 3rd. So we did. So
Y'all can't fucking say we didn't try.
and then I ain't gonna lie, man. This narrative spinning that we're trying to compete with Kevin.
tried,
Kevin
guys.
in Manosphere. No, bro, we're very upfront and very honest. Hey, man, trying to work shit out. What can we do? What can we do? What do you want us to do?
So because I've got
So, Chris, that goes back to what we were saying in this space, that men have to be careful that they don't allow hubris to take over, because as men, all men are very creative by nature. We're very competitive. Every man wants to compete and be the top dog. But listen, it should never be at the expense of subjugating the movement. Remember, I talked about the servant leader, and Jesus was the servant leader. He was a servant before he could lead men to justice. And so, Chris, you're hearing this, man, about, it sounds like ego and hubris, or what I call narcissistic traits. Give me your spin once again on this, man, because this is not sounding good at all.
Well, of course, we know, pride goeth before the fall, if I'm not
Yes, sir.
mistaken.
Yes,
So
sir.
in this context, these are the type of things that we need to be aware of within the space. I mean, to see all the work that's been done, with all the content has been getting pushed and everything that has been coming about. K.Samuels' rise into popularity, the red pill space, you know what I'm saying? Everything that has been growing. And I think it's only been within the span of the mass popularity has been within about a year and a half to 2 years right now, where more and more people was really starting to get out there. I think that for every movement that we try to have within the Black community, I feel like this has the most opportunity right now to be something that we can continue to build, that we can use, that will allow us to start correcting a lot of the mishaps within our community, period. And to see the little things like this are the things that we have to be very guarded against and aware of, is egos, pride, stuff like that. Because as soon as you lose sight of the mission, lose sight of the goal, that's when you start allowing people starting to slide in and destroy it from the inside. That's where you start to see issues and discrepancies that could come in and destroy the whole space. And we need to be very cognizant of that. We need to be very aware of that. And like I said, we need to protect against it. So right now, I feel like there's more as far as what needs to be talked about, as far as on Kev's side of the house. I really can't beat Kev up too much about this situation. All I can say is just it looked like he left him hanging. Because like they said, he just stopped answering, he stopped talking to him. Could we say that's because of pride and ego and stuff like that? I mean, did Kev get up on his diva? I mean, is Kev, going to turn his back on the sphere? I mean, of course, we would like to say we hope not, because of all the great work that's been done. But like I said, we're shooting, like we're throwing stones within our own house right now. And the thing is, I think that we need to be careful on how hard we throw those stones and break a window, because that window broken allows for other people who are on the outside to rush in and make things worse. And we need to be very guarded against that. All right. So dealing with what's going on overall is, I say that you should be held accountable for your actions, but that shouldn't be held against the whole sphere overall. All right. That's not how this should go. So I think that we should be very guarded against guys who now all of a sudden want to come in and say that all of you guys who pedestalize or who are these red pill men, you guys are so evil, y'all are so chauvinistic, y'all. No, slow down, stop. That's not what this is about. All right. This is about somebody's business practices coming back to bite them. Okay. And guys who know better are speaking the facts and the truth of what's going on within the situation. And we don't need to destroy the whole entire, or we can't let people start attacking the whole manosphere overall.
Right.
And let that get clouded in between what the objective is.
Well, it definitely sounds like hubris. And I'll say it once again, and I say it unequivocal. I don't care about, people setting a market or a price, but your target point and the people that you're trying to reach, most men in this space are average income earners. Now, if they want to pay that amount, that's their business. But $11,000 to come on the show by Myron is excessive. But then some guys have problems with both guys charging over $1,000. And look, some guys can pay it. Let those guys pay it. I'm not against that. But it is problematic. Listen, guys, I'm 2 away from 1,000 subs. So let's get the likes up. Let's get 1,000. I'm 2 away from 1,000. Shout out to my man BT Brown Media TV. 2 subs from 1,000. And if you like what I'm doing, and my man Chris, please like, share, and donate to Cash App or PayPal on my channel as I seek to grow this channel from a clinical concept. Because there's a lot of things going on in this community. And unfortunately, the people that we see as men that we look up to potentially could have ulterior motives. And like my man Carlos Jones say, it sounds like there's an issue with integrity. DC, I don't know, unmute yourself, brother. Come in and share your point of contention.
Hello, good afternoon. How
you doing, sir? What's going on?
I think we have reviewed a video with Myron kind of voicing his opinion about K.Samuels. I want to start there just from a business perspective.
Right.
With Myron's in Fresh, they had a right to be upset if another content creator is asking you to push back your time. So right. I can see the frustration there because it's a money thing.
Yes, sir.
But one of the things I'm still trying to figure out is that Fresh and Fit and K.Samuels' audience are two different audiences. When you look at Fresh and Fit, you're thinking more of a younger crowd, and when you're looking at K.Samuels, you're thinking more of an older crowd. But when you look at also at what Fresh and Fit has managed to do, I kind of think of them more like a pop culture MTV type of podcast. They have crossover appeal where they're able to have not just a black audience, but a white audience. And you can go onto their show every night, and you can still see those super chats, $500, $1,000, night in and night out. Mm-hmm. And then I guess their big concern is this: if we push back our time and Kevin comes in and take up that target market, will we ever get that target market back? And if Kevin is only reaching out to us only when he allegedly wants something, can I really trust to make that move? It'll be a bad business decision on their part.
Right.
So that's the first factor. And I think, and you mentioned it best when you talked about the everyday worker or the everyday brother. With the high value man concept, I think that's doing more damage to the space and even to black relationships than good. Because even when you was reading Myron's text messages, it was just like, hey, I just have a lot of money. Come and sleep with me. That was it. It was like no type of personality. It wasn't no type of substance there. So I think what a lot of guys are trying to lead with now is just saying, hey, I'm high value just because I earn a lot of money. And last but not least, what I'll just kind of end with, I think the Dane coaches got this one right, where they said a guy shouldn't lead with his money. He should lead with other things. And I think that's where you're starting to see the downfall of Fresh and Fit.
So do you think? So you feel like Fresh and Fit does have some leeway, more or less based on what they were talking about? Yeah.
So on that issue, yes. But here's the to play both sides of the fence. What Kevin Samuels can come back and say is this: okay, if you guys have a problem with the time slot, and you guys have a problem with me reaching out to you on my time, then stop using my material. And if you're going to profit off my material, then we're going to keep things as business as usual. But if you're not going to use my material, then we can set up a new arrangement where you guys can go on air at any time, and I won't make any guest appearances, and you just don't take my talking points.
Let me ask you a question, DC. Do you feel like that some of I guess some of the men in this space actually have the best interests of their constituents, or do you think it's more or less about money and more or less selling people empty dreams and promises?
It's all about money. And the reason why I say that so confidently is because Kevin Samuels, before Kevin Samuels reached 1 million subs, before the average at best, when the Manosphere was going through their, how can I say it, their reconstruction phase, where they, as they call it, Manosphere 2.0. If someone in the chat can correct me, please feel free. I'm not sure the exact name or the title they call for it. They all came in with saying, I'm trying to get paid. So when you're trying to get paid, you already said what your interest was. And I mean, let's just be honest. There's no, with the whole high value man and the concepts that they're talking about is out the average guy's price point. This is not for everyday people. Let's just be real about it. People are paying to be part of a, how can I say, a facade. This to be part of the new Joneses of the internet. So I don't think we're ever going to get to a point where we have content creators that's going to actually, how can I say it, have the people's best interest at heart.
Well, you know, that's unfortunate because I do have the people's best interest at heart. I'm a licensed therapist, so you know, I'm not blowing bubbles out of my butt, but I do have a love for the brotherhood. You know, I feel like a lot of men actually need guidance from older men, other men, as they're trying to more or less traverse through this maze called life. And listen, once again, I'm not against a man making his money as long as he do it ethically and he has a concern for other men. But it just appears that, you know, the average Joe that's, you know, making $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year, I don't know if $1,000 would be a good return of his investment for basic advice. I think that money can be used invested elsewhere. Not against the capitalistic model. I'm not against that. But it just seems a little exorbitant. And then he was talking, even with Myron Gaines, when they were saying that $11,000, man, to come on his show. I'm like, are you trying to help brothers? Or do you have ulterior motives? And see, and that's what happens as men tend to rise. They become very arrogant. And, you know, it doesn't do any good. Because like Chris said, I think the movement is a good movement. And I'm not against people making their money. I said 1,000 times. But make sure you work with brothers and try to help other men rise and not have ulterior motives. So I really appreciate your insight, brother. Thank you. Thank you, brother. Excellent insight. Excellent insight.
No worries.
No doubt. All right. So Rob Farr said they should be on later. They are clearly adult only about content. Kevin's giving them good advice. Okay, well, that's fine. I don't know all the nuances to it. I'm gonna finish listening to this video by this.
A couple of people have told me that, oh, y'all are purposely trying to destroy Kevin's business competing at 10 p.m. We tried, man. We made so many concessions for him, and we didn't bring this up online. We didn't want to bring it up or whatever. But you know what? We're going to give you guys the truth. You guys saw that July 3rd, I reached out to him with an olive branch.
Appreciate the subscription, homie.
After all him ignoring us.
Yep. He doesn't want to do anything, so it is what it is. Rashad Brown, $100. Myron Fresh, keep doing your thing. Great show. Myron, are you going to have girls feedback on your...
All right, so that's it right there. That's them boys said what they had to say about the situation. I'm not going to just be a dick towards them. I understand their frustration of what they're saying is true. And we don't have Kevin's side. I doubt Kevin will ever get into the mud and get in the midst of this whole back and forth. He obviously was done with the situation. He understood the feelings that they had towards him and felt like they was moving some type of way. And based on his judgment, he decides not to deal with them anymore. You know, so Kevin isn't being snaked anymore. I guess if these guys feel like, you know, if they had the mind state of competition with him, Kevin peeped it a while ago, and he's like, okay, if this is what it is going to be between us two, then you just gotta be competition. That's what we're gonna be. We're going to be competitors. We're not gonna be buddy. We're going to be competitors, and that's how Kev is rocking out on that situation. What do you guys think? What do you guys think in regards to that? They made solid points, and they confirmed everything that Allende and Large was saying on that video. They confirmed everything. They didn't get into the them dropping the F-bombs, but yeah, it's real over there. It's real over there. Man, listen, this is crazy, dog. I'm trying to break everything down, give you guys all the information that's as clean as possible. This is a 5-hour stream. I tried to watch what I.
All right, so listen, to whoever else is listening to the show, I want you to come in and bring in your points of contention with this whole fiasco that's going on. Click on the link, please, as Chris and I share this poignant discussion, because there appears to be warfare in this black male assembly, and is this warfare going to cause more harm than good? And once again, guys, if you like what I'm doing, please cash out $7 Smalls. And also, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, as we are 2 away from 1,000. 2 away from 1,000, the channel will be monetized. And so let's have a discussion. But while we're having this discussion, click on the link and let's talk about it, because this is a group catharsis where men share and talk. And my man Chris Strong is bringing on some excellent points. So, Chris, give me your critique.
Well, first of all, shout out to Yum Stacy for the video. That's a brother. He's over there. He's doing good work on his YouTube channel. So,
yes, sir. Shout out to him.
Shout out to him.
Right.
Yeah. So, quick, good shout out to him. He's over there doing good work, breaking down the videos, giving his opinion on everything that's going on. So, shout out to him. Like I said, right now it's just looking like it's looking a little rough, on the fresh and fit side of the game. I mean, I know there are people who are going to continue to support him and that are going to continue to rock with him. But, I mean, I think that you should always have an awareness and a watch out for people who could be scamming you. I think that you should be able to be cognizant enough to make your own decisions, especially as a man. I mean, I know it might come with taking your bumps and bruises in life, but at the same time, I mean, if somebody's charging you $1,000 to do something that you really can't afford, or do you really need this? I mean, you should, logic has to come in at some point. Right. You can't have somebody holding your hand all in at the same time. And remember, the manosphere itself right now is a result of the issues that have been going wrong within our community and community, so on and so forth, like that. So, I mean, as a result of fathers not being in the house and living in a gynocentric, society, basically, where women are championed and pedestaled and men are basically yanked down, degraded, and told that we're bad for trying to be masculine. In this type of society, I mean, things like this, this is the reason why the manosphere exists in the first place. And right. You shouldn't let those things keep you from making good decisions. Like, what I'm saying is just like, I know it might come with bumps and bruises because, you may not have had a masculine father figure in the house, but still at the same time, like, you got to draw the line within yourself. You have to say, hey man, this is too much. I detect something's going on. Like, there are no easy pills in life. It's going to require a level of work and got to get things done in life, period. There's no shortcuts. So, paying all that money, you're looking for a shortcut. And that's a bad idea. It really is.
And you know what, Chris, the main thing is that men must hold other men accountable. It's almost like if you look at the pyramid scheme in the church, you got the bishop is over everybody, but who holds the bishop accountable? You see my point? You got the bishop, you got the lay members, you got the district pastor or whatever, but who holds the bishop accountable? And I think that's the crux of the issues that we're seeing now. Like I said, I don't have an issue with a man making this money. I don't have an issue with that. But a lot of men in this space, once again, are average earners. And so it just comes off as being disingenuous sometimes from both sides if that's the case. And listen, I like Kevin Samuels. I like a lot of things that the brothers say. I actually like some of the things that Myron Gaines said. I would look at their shows off and on from time to time. But these receipts where it's almost like they're eating one another is problematic. And then it makes me think, what are their true intentions? Do they really have a love for the brotherhood? Do they really have a love for the brotherhood? Or are they allowing their narcissistic traits to show out? Because a lot of folks, Chris, in this space have narcissistic traits. Some of these men, some people use these platforms as avatars to mask deficits that they have. And so I'm not calling anybody a bona fide narcissist. I would never say that. But as a clinical therapist, people do have narcissistic traits. And those narcissistic traits can manifest themselves due to deficits in their lives when they were younger. What's your take on that?
Well, see, the thing is that as you're speaking on it from a, from the clinical point of view, I mean, you have the authority to speak on it from that point of view. I mean, just like the lead attorney speaking on it from that attorney's point of view. I mean, as the kosher clinician, I mean, you got a whole point of view that has already been validated by society in itself due to your success. Yes. Therefore, when you speak on these topics, I feel like a lot of what you say is going to be much more credible because you're coming at this as a clinician. You're coming at this evaluating people's psyche. So, even though Kev kind of does that, he's an image consultant, but a lot of the things he speaks over is like, it almost seems like he's in a position of being some type of therapist, but you yourself, you're actually the licensed therapist. So when you speak on it, I think that your weight of what you say holds a lot of credibility. So, I mean, it's just like, I'm not trying to say what anybody is or what they're not, but all I'm saying is just that at the end of the day, you still need to be aware and cognizant of what you listen to and how you move, right? Because, I definitely feel like a lot of people right now are looking for answers, and you got to be very careful where you're getting your information from, okay?
Shout out to my man, D. Curtis. Thank you, brother. I'm forever grateful for that cash out donation. Thank you. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel as I seek to get this channel to 1,000. Listen, I'll say it again, guys. I'm the real deal, as Chris said. Chris is my homie. Him and I talk in private often. I'm a licensed clinical therapist. I went to one of the best schools in the country. And I started this platform as a way to empower Black men due to the ravages of child court, due to the ravages of brokenness, due to the ravages of fatherlessness. So I have an abiding love for the brotherhood, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And when I look at these things forensically, when I look at it from a forensics perspective, some of the things that I thought in my head is actually coming into fruition, and I'll just leave it at that. But like I said, please like the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed, send this channel to other men and tell them to subscribe to the Kosher Clinician. And let's continue to have a conversation. Chris, as we're about to end this show in a few minutes, where do we go from here, Chris? And before Chris answers that question, would anybody else like to come in on the panel, join the conversation, and more or less talk about what they see with this fiasco with Myron Gaines and K.Samuels? So if you want to talk about it, anybody on the platform, please click on the link and let's have a conversation. Go ahead, Chris.
Where do we go from here? Well, I mean, right now, I feel like people are starting to try to make that decision because, like I said, we see like a division of ideals within the sphere to a degree. And I think I don't know if I want to say this, but it might almost start to be the generational separation of mindsets, because I feel like there's a little bit younger crowd that's more on the fresh and fit side of the game. Guys who are a little bit older are more on the K.Samuels side of the understanding, to a degree, I guess. But where do we go from here? I would have to say that hopefully too much information, or hopefully there's not a lot of stuff that's actually going to come in and start to really kind of destroy, like the underpinnings of the manosphere, or at least the Black manosphere so far, because there's been a lot of good work that's been done. There's been a lot of advice that has been given out that has saved brothers, lives, really, right. that has helped them out, that has helped them make better decisions in life, that has helped them how to vet women more properly. I mean, you will have your extremes in anything you do. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that you need to be drawing from that and saying that, that the smallest part of something is the whole. You know what I mean? Like, the smallest part isn't the norm. Like, most men, I feel like, are wise enough to say, hey, I understand overall what these guys are saying. I understand that it's more or less a safety net on how to properly move with women that you deal with. properly move, how you vet women, and at the end of the day, I feel like you'll wind up making your own decisions. But right now with the Manosphere overall, I think it'll be all right. I think Fresh and Fit, they'll just have their niche side of the game, and that other people, like, you know, guys who are just whoever they follow within the sphere, I feel like they will make their decisions as well on their side of the game. So,
Mr. Stewart, you tried to come back on, brother. Let's have a conversation. Anyone else would like to join or have a conversation? Please come and join the conversation with my man Chris and I. Brother, Mr. Stewart, please come back in and let's have a conversation.
yeah, man, subscribe, man. Get the likes up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Stewart, are you there, sir? And go check out my man Chris Strong, Arsuru the Guru. Go check my man Chris out.
Arsuru the Guru, man.
Arsuru the Guru. Go check my man Chris out.
Yes, sir.
Go check his channel out, man. All right.
One word. Don't type it spaces. Type it together, because that's how you'll find it.
So once again, Mr. Stewart, are you there, sir? Please come back on the platform if you would like to share. Anyone else that's listening, is there warfare in the manosphere? And are many of these guys in this space actually avatars, but not really true adherents of the things that they preach? Are they avatars? Do they have an abiding love for the brotherhood? Or is profit their main motivation? And once again, we're not against men making money. We're not. But at the same time, your motivation should be to inspire and to empower men. So, Mr. Stewart, okay, all right. He says, sorry, technical difficulties. All right. So anyone else want to join the conversation, click on the link. Join the conversation. I'm 2 away from 1,000. Let's get this channel to 1,000. If you've already subscribed to my channel, share this channel with 20 other brothers. Let's get this channel to 1,000, and let's continue to have a conversation, because there's a crisis in masculinity. And as Chris said, if we had stronger communities, if we had stronger fathers, we won't be seeing the issues that we're actually seeing now. So please do that.
Like our good brother down here, I think his name is Ra. It's like Rafar, I believe. You know, he said that, you know, why not create the correct way to do it? And, you know, the work is being done. You know, I mean, there are brothers out here who are trying to give a message to where they're not trying to screw you over. They're really trying to look out for your best interest, because we understand the issues that have gone and essentially destroyed men's, you know, masculinity or their mindset to want to be or try to be masculine. You know, there's a lot of brothers who understand what's going on, and they're not just trying to sell you like a, you know, like a hopeful dream. You know, I mean, the brothers who are actually out here doing the work and wanting to see men be better. So the work is being done, but you know, understanding that people who have kind of like who are very influenced, you know, who have very influenced personalities, like we said, usually the younger crowd. And this is no offense, because it's not like I'm some old head. You know what I mean? Like, I'm only 33, but like I'm older than both Fresh and Fit, so I don't even really look to those dudes for a bunch of wisdom anyway.
Right.
You know what they got going on. I mean, like, because you know, even Myron is supposed to be, his name is Fit, but according to what we've heard already, he didn't want to help his boy Fresh out when it came to fitness, because the old dude who was training Fresh was Ayande, was training Fresh on how to be his fitness. So he just was, according to Ayande, you know, he was trying to say Myron ain't even that dude when it comes to the fitness. So, like I said, man, like, we're going to have these things, you know, there will be ups and downs regardless. As far as any movement, there's going to be adjustments. There's going to be things that happen. It's not about, you know, one of my philosophies is it's not about trying to control the universe. It's about how you react to the universe when the universe does what it does. Like, you're not going to get out here and be able to control and manipulate every aspect of life. That's not it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to say that that's bad karma. That's bad alchemy, you know, basically, when you're trying to get in here and predict and try to manipulate and control everything, you know, into oh, it has to go the way I see it. No, you need to be accountable for yourself and your actions and be right internally. And therefore, when certain things happen in life, you know how to respond and not blame the world.
Right.
Take more accountability for yourself and say, this was a mistake. and we're going to adjust like within the manosphere. We see, all right, this was an issue. We see that, all right, well, a lot of us saw it coming, but here these brothers go, making a fool of themselves. And at that point, we have to make the decision to say, are men within the manosphere, are we going to disassociate from these brothers? Are we going to step back and say, you know what? Maybe that wasn't the best move we should have made, championing these dudes without properly vetting them. So, but or like he says, because even Kevin Samuels would say, like, oh, you don't really need to date anybody, just go marry him. All right, well, and he says when it goes bad, just get divorced. And I'm like, once again, that's only like like he says, high value men who can kind of get in there and make moves like that and just be like, yeah, let me just marry her. Oh, if it goes bad, I'll divorce her. Fine, she'll take half, but I'll make my money back with it. Everybody can't necessarily move like that. So like I said, this is one of those things where we just have to just realize that, hey, you know, things are going to happen within any movement. All right, there is no utopia. There's always going to be situations and places where we're going to have to stub our toe. We're going to have to take the lesson. We're going to have to take the lesson and keep moving, right? We're going to have to learn and keep moving. Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no perfect space that's going to be created, because every guy or every brother who's teaching within the manosphere has his own angle. Like, for me, the way what I teach within the red pill understanding is, I'm not in it to really give dating and advice and stuff like that. Mine is awareness and knowledge of self. That is more like what my channel, over on my channels, what I talk about is understanding how to move with the internal mentality of how you move and deal within this world. Like I said, the mental alchemy or the inner spirituality of oneself is more or less what I talk about on my channel. So I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of like dating advice and deal with women this way. There's everybody else is talking about that. It's all within the sphere, within the space. I mean, it's not necessarily like something I'm going to get deep within on my channel. It's not really what I go into. But I do understand, and I know those terms and values anyway. But like I said, there's no utopia. You have to be able to say, this life isn't perfect, but I'm strong enough within my self-confidence that I'm going to move in this direction when certain things happen. All right. It's about knowing how to react to certain things. Even like when I was in the military, you know, it's not about, you don't train for combat to say, you know, for every single opportunity or every single situation that can happen when we're in a combat situation, you know, we're going to have the game plan is going to be planned out exactly to a T. And this is, no, you train for what can happen and know how to adjust when that plan doesn't work. Right. Because that's war in itself, is what happens when the plan doesn't work. Now you're in combat, because now your buddies took around, somebody took around, they're down. All right. Your internal train. That's why the military practices and drills over and over and over again. So at least your internal natural programming when you're in combat is telling you, all right, this is what I'm used to. I'm trained, boom, boom, boom. You can do it almost without thinking. Now, when things happen that go counter to that, are you prepared? Like, are you prepared to handle what happens next? Right. So like I said, it all comes from within internal and being prepared and aware to move and go on to the next stage of whatever comes. So, you know, there's no perfection. You just got to be able to, you know, you got to be able to move when it's time to move. That's really what it's about.
Right. You know, I agree with you. And I want to first say, shout out to the lead attorney. The lead attorney definitely has been an exemplar of using his platform to empower other men to grow their brand. And I also want to shout out O'Shea Duke Jackson. He definitely gave me my first opportunity. Well, I mean, I had already started, but you know, he started the epigenesis of this process for me. So shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson. But like I said, the lead attorney has been excellent with helping men grow, because he knows the challenges of growing this brand. You know, he could have been selfish and kept all the information to himself, but you know, he personifies the spirit of the fish. And you know, and I'm honored that he's been such a great brother. We're about to sign off in a minute. I have clients to see at some point today, but this has been a good show, Chris. This has been an excellent show, and I'm grateful that you came on. But I wanted to talk about it, man, because there's warfare going on in this manosphere, but then there's a psychic warfare going on too. And unless these men, if they have issues that are unresolved from childhood due to internal work, to deal with that schema affliction that they're having. We're going to continue to have these kind of shows and discussions, because at one point we can't talk about the preacher or the prosperity preacher when we're doing the same things that the prosperity preacher is doing, which is exploitation.
Facts.
Am I talking right, Chris?
Facts. Hey, go ahead. Hey, you preaching now?
Am I preaching?
Hey, hey, you preaching now, because that's what I was thinking. We can't be sitting here and railing against, the church and stuff like that. Even though I agree with a lot of that, as far as like how they have led us astray. Like I said, we're the black church. You know what I mean? That's my opinion. That's how I say it. This the new black church is right here. The brothers in the sphere doing the work. New black church is right here, because but we also cannot, like I said, the ego. You cannot let ego get in the way, and all of a sudden you just go from doing what the pastors are doing. You just doing it on YouTube.
Yes, sir. Right.
And you doing it under a different name instead of doing it in a church. You just doing it on your platform, but you're still coming with that same type of energy. That's why I talk about being right internally, dealing with your internal energy. Like I said, if you're not right within, then everything that you do on the outside is going to reflect that. Like I said, that's the basics. That's the one-on-one. That's law of attraction in itself right there. Like I kept giving the analogy dealing with Myron. I said law of attraction. You bringing all those OnlyFans girls around, and girls who could potentially scam you, and now all these allegations, is because you basically are like that yourself. That's why you law of attract. You attracted all that to you. You know what I'm saying? And, that's why you want to move with a certain type of energy based off how you were coming. That's why everything starts internal. It all starts internal. Your internal makeup and how you move through life starts within, so that you can easily discern the type of people that you have around you, the type of information that you absorb. All right. Because a lot of people who are, who like all that drama and that world star energy and, all the dysfunction and all that. Well, you're those type of, that's because you are that dysfunction. And that's why you attract that type of stuff. So real talk with Myron, he is that dude. That's why everything that has been coming out about Myron, I ain't been surprised. I've been like, yep, figured, yep. His business partners, yep. Because internally he's like that. That's why he allegedly got an OnlyFans girl pregnant. Because those are the type of girls he attracts. You know what I'm saying? Those are the type of girls that basically he wants to deal with, or deals with him, or whatever the case. And when he tried that stuff over on Anna Quinn Fitness, it wasn't, she wasn't having it. Like, I don't even, and Myron, I know y'all are not FBA, you know what I'm saying? But bro, come on, bro, one-on-one, man. Like, don't be going after no white girl like that, bro. You need to chill all the way out, bro. Cause you come on, bro. You should have known she was gonna come at you, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not to say that any other woman wouldn't have done the same, but dude, come on, G. You go after a white girl like that, bro, you better chill all the way out, bro. Chill, my dude. Like, I'm just saying, bro. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, because you making all the brothers who are, FBA, foundationally Black American brothers, like, bro, you making us look bad. Like, fam, like, what are you doing? Like, because neither one of them are FBA, by the way. Like, we already know. Myron's from Sudan, Fresh is from Caribbean, so I think Barbados or whatever. But it's just kind of like, come on, G. Like, I mean, like, because when, listen, the reason why that matters is because the outside looks over at their podcast and they'll just say, oh, Black dudes. So the thing is that Myron, Fresh and Fit, y'all represent us, bro. Like, that's why it does matter. So that's why you want to be very careful with how you move, because when you come over here and we accept you in, even though your culture and your background might be a little different, you're still representing foundational Black American brothers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because just imagine Anna Quinn Fitness is her. Imagine her homegirls. See, I told you shouldn't have been talking to those Black guys. And there you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, because come on, man, you muddying up the waters, bro. Like,
Chris, I want you to put a spin on this before we sign off. But a lot of men in this space actually shame guys to travel. And I was fortunate, and you and I are going to be in the movie Frustrated 3 with Al Grease.
Shout out to Al Grease.
Shout out to my homie Al Grease, Coach Grease. Shout out to him. But we're going to be in Frustrated 3, the documentary about why men are traveling abroad to find love and sell relationships. And so, Chris, you're going to be in that movie, and so will I. I'm going to be in that documentary. But I want you to talk about, because, that's part of what I call the shaping of the Black man. But I want you to talk about why is there so much consternation about Black men traveling abroad?
Oh man.
Give me a minute.
Oh
Go ahead,
man.
Chris. And listen, and while Chris is talking, about 5 more minutes, if anybody want to come in and talk about this warfare that's going on in the manosphere, click on the link to the bottom. Click on the link, and let's have a discussion briefly about this warfare that's going on. And to the guys that are on my channel, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the Kosher Clinician. You're not going to find anyone else in this space is giving you what I'm giving you from a clinical perspective. They will give you their opinion, but they can't give you clinical truths, as I am a licensed professional. All right. So click on the link if you want to come in and have a discussion. And Chris, briefly talk about the shaming language with passport bros.
Well, like I said, first of all, perfect segue and good discussion, good question, because this whole discussion, as far as as it pertains to Auburn Preach Freshman Fit, really did start out with the whole pay to play versus game situation, right? So you got a lot of opinions on both sides of the house. Now, when you start to get in that topic, travel bros, passport bros like us have been taking that heat forever. They've been like, y'all out there tricking, y'all out there, you can't handle a black woman, y'all can't do this, y'all just want to go chase white women. Like, there's so much drama that comes about with brothers who travel and stuff like that. And like I speak with the whole, even when it pertains to traveling versus not traveling, I think that if every brother could travel, more brothers would be traveling. I think, first of all, there's a lot of brothers who are not able to travel, and I think they want to. So they kind of really don't have a choice but to kind of deal with what they got. No shade to y'all, no slight, no shade. But the heat comes from, especially when it comes on the women's side, man, it's just kind of like, to me, it almost seems like a little bit of jealousy because there's competition in the water. There's competition now because, you got brothers going overseas, going to spots like Brazil, like, now they see that, they can't just run all different types of little games on brothers because there's a lot of brothers who are exercising their options. And it doesn't mean that brothers are just going out here chasing white women and stuff like that. Like, what I'm saying? Like, it just seems like, a lot of these sisters, not all, some who say this, it just seems like their worst nightmare is, it just seems like, a lot of these. You got echo, coach? All right.
Yeah, you're fine. Go ahead, brother.
But it just seems like these type women who would rather say these type of things is just kind of like, it feels like there's a little bit of jealousy, and also they don't want you to realize your value. You know what I mean? Because ain't nobody out here chasing white women, like, because you get disassociated from the whole diaspora, like. Because we might be a so-called minority in the United States, once again, which is broken down by political classes. Because if we just go based off what's brown in the United States, I mean, like, who's the real minority in that context, in that situation? Mm-hmm. But just keeping it to what the common talk is, as far as the diaspora overall and the Caribbean, and all, there's so many black Afro-Latina sisters, if that's what you want. They are all over, like, what I'm saying? Like Central Mexico, in the Caribbean, South America. I mean, just everywhere, Colombia, like, what I'm saying? So a lot of that is shaming language, of course, to try to keep brothers locked down mentally. See, once again, it all comes back to your mentality. That's why I speak a lot on, your internal spiritual mentality and how you move internally. That's why I speak on a lot of that. That's what my channel revolves around. So that last shackle to leave from slavery was the mental shackle. Right. There's a lot of brothers who are mentally trapped and mentally bonded and bound to the ideals that have been laid upon you really since slavery. That's why a lot of brothers can't speak before slavery. They don't have any idea of who they are or knowledge of self before slavery, because they've been so entrenched and entrapped in that mindset and mentality of everything that was essentially beat into you as a slave, right? So then, hate to say it, but a lot of that energy is used against you when it comes to trapping the black man in certain mentalities, okay? A lot of that stuff is used to trap black men in certain ways of thinking and in thought patterns, because what that's going to do is they know exactly what to say to you to make you react a certain way, meaning that they have control of you. Because if I'm somebody who's on the outside of the black community, if I want to trigger a black man, I'm just going to say something about his mama. You know what I'm saying? Or drop the N-bomb on him. Do certain little things like that you have to be more aware to say this person is trying to trigger you. They do it in sales and marketing all the time. You know, I mean, I know it's a little off topic, but right now with the situation going on overseas, like I said, I'm a vet. I fought over there in Afghanistan, and a lot of the media now is just throwing Joe Biden's name all over the place. You should see what even the Australian media is saying. It's crazy out there. Right. But also they are trying to shape a narrative based off trigger points. And that's why I said that when it comes down to how we have been ingrained, especially as black men, to think and move throughout our so-called community is because based off of trauma. You know what I mean? It's the trauma bonding to who we think we're supposed to be. We act like we have to be these servants or these slaves to whatever a black woman does or says. We have to get in there, save her, and champion anything she does, put on a pedestal. And I'm not saying all. This is some who will make it seem like that you ain't a real black man unless you serving a black woman. She may not say that, but that is the mentality, right? Because the thing when it comes to us as brothers traveling overseas, they're like, why you need to go over there, or why you need to do and date all these other types of women, or why you need to go over there. Like, your community is here. Why are you leaving the neighborhood? You know, stuff like this. Like I said, a lot of shame and guilt to keep brothers in place. And like I said, these are the good things that the sphere does. These are the type of things that the manosphere does, right? As far as give brothers knowledge. You don't have to agree with everything that K.Samuels is saying. You don't have to agree with all his talking points. But I think when he dropped that shaming language, that shame, guilt, insults, and the need to be right, he blew the lid off of a lot of stuff. Because that is a tactic that goes even deeper than dating. That blew the lid off of a lot of stuff. And now men, even if they take that little gem that K.Samuels gave them and they rock with that, don't buy the courses. That's why I said you need that cognitive awareness to say that you got to be able to, you know, take the good with the bad, right? You got to be able to say, all right, this is some gems, but the rest of this is rubbish. I don't need this. You got to have that. You know what I'm saying? And like the brother said, beautiful women are everywhere. You know what I mean? So there's no need to feel trapped and locked in to say, oh, I only have to deal with black women. That's, you know, like, again, shame. Now, listen, I don't have nothing against black women in general. I know there's some brothers who take it to the extreme with how they, you know, be calling black women all these certain types of names and with stuff like that. Because I think as young black men, I think that in the beginning when we were in school as children, black women were our first look, always. I believe that. I believe that at first we were attracted to, you know what I'm saying, you know, the cute young black chick, you know what I'm saying, that we thought was like the flyest girl in the room, and we had a little crush on her growing up. And eventually what happened is that you try, but sometimes you get to a point to where you keep failing. And then now in our society, as we've grown up, me as a millennial, we start to see how they act, some, not all, start to act and treat us and what they really think about us. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it gets to a point to where you have to grow up and get beyond a lot of the things you were programmed to be. And I think that's why us as Travel Brothers, we have broken that programming. Like I said, that's why we call this the Matrix. And then
well, you know, it goes back to the show, Chris, that I did when I was at BGS, and my man Deacon Eric Spencer and Sean James. It was called Taxation Without Representation and the Mental Breaking of the American Male. And what you're seeing now, Chris, is the mental taxation of the American male, where he's not getting his need met. Listen, these channels have been started because men have been more or less traumatized by the pain of brokenness in the past, Chris Strongheart. And I've said in the past that a hopeless man is a broken man, and a broken man is a dangerous man. And there are a lot of broken men in this space. That's why I took it upon myself as a clinical therapist to start the Kosher Clinician. Because there are 7 steps that a man, Chris, must go through in order to become an optimized male. Family, faith, female psychology, finance, travel, world health, and politics. Once a man utilizes those 7 core principles, he becomes optimized. Because it can't be kosher if it's not 7. And so I want to more or less put men in a predicament where they can have options outside the confines of the United States. That's why we, BMO is doing such a great job. Shout out to Deacon Eric Spencer. They're doing such a great job. And listen, we're going to be an entity within ourselves as it relates to male empowerment. Chris, you and I have talked in private about, hubris and how egos can get in place. But, we've taken upon ourselves to be men of valor and men of respect. Mr. Stewart, admit yourself, brother, and I want you to share your point of contention about, is there a war in this manosphere? I want you to talk about it, Mr. Stewart. Come on in, brother. Mr. Stewart, chop it up with us, brother. Hello, Mr. Stewart. Can you hear us? Mr. Stewart, unmute yourself. You look unmuted. Mr. Stewart, did you want to talk? All right, I don't know what's going on. All right, so to the guys that are listening, Ralph Farr, if you want to drop in, brother, feel free to drop in, and I'm sharing. Come on up, Ralph Farr, and chop it up with the brothers, man, and give us your point. Is there a war in the manosphere? You make some excellent points, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. So Ralph Farr, please come into the chat and let's have a discussion if you choose to have. And if not, we're going to end this show in a few minutes. But I think this show is very important. Anyone else in the show that want to more or less bring clarity to what's going on into the Black Male Assembly, and what's your take on exploitative practices by the alleged Myron Gaines and his contention with Kevin Samuels?
I want to speak on that comment there that the brother said. He said that they're trying to destroy us. It's about expanding the race. Well, let's see, because this goes into the thing about getting away from the Black community and stuff like that. Well, this is the thing. Wherever we go as Black men, that child will be Black. You know what I'm saying? So that's first and foremost. There's going to be Black. Wherever we go, it's going to be Black. You know what I mean? So, they're exterminating us, stuff like that. I mean, if you look at the world overall, as far as the melanated people of the world, Africa ain't going nowhere. The world is getting more brown, not the other way around, family. So we gonna be on this rock until it explodes. It's gonna be all right. Now, if you want to hold yourself to specifically having to stay within the continental United States, Black America must be Black, like we say, FBA. If that's what you want to do, that's cool. But we're speaking on what we're speaking on to give brothers options. Okay, because some brothers feel trapped, right? Some people feel like that they don't have any other choice. All right, we're speaking to the brothers who don't, more or less, don't really see it as a reality, because sometimes you'll hear stuff, it'll come in earshot, but when it gets down to actually seeing brothers who look just like you, who do the same things you do, work where you worked, your same type of ideals, when you see them overseas, like down on the beaches of Rio, and you're just like, wait a minute, I can really do this. Like, yeah, bro, you can really do this. You really do have the option, because feeling like you can't leave the United States is locked into your lack of self-value, or your lack of understanding your self-value, not knowing how valuable you really are to the world. Because if you've never traveled, if you go to some of these places, it's like, whoa, why are you treating me like I'm like halfway a celebrity? You're like, wow, like, and you just realize your value. You're pretty much a commodity. The American Black man is very much a commodity because of what they see on TV. Right? In our own land, they'll hype us up to be like superstars. Because think about the Black dudes who get on TV, right? You got your rappers, your actors, your athletes, and all stuff like that. They put like the best of us, quote unquote, on TV. So that is kind of like what gets pushed out throughout the world. And then when you go to different countries, they kind of see you as just like, they kind of want to put that, like, oh man, like this is one of those Black dudes, right? So you can really kind of go to a different place and have a different outlook. They can have a different outlook on you. If you haven't traveled, all right, just for the brothers who haven't traveled, talk to a brother who has traveled. Like I said, don't let anybody tell you anything as far as trying to downplay going overseas if they have not been there. That's one of the biggest things that we talk about over here when we talk about traveling, as far as within the Passport Gang, SYSBM. We'll say, don't let anybody tell you about a place if they have not been there, okay? And you'll really start to get the mentality of what it's like to go overseas, or you really start to get like you really kind of start to get the freedom aspect of it, I'll say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You'll really start to get to see what it's like to be free and unbound. Like the whole mindset of thinking that, oh, well, they're trying to exterminate us. Listen, they don't have enough numbers to eradicate all the brown in the world. They don't have enough numbers. They can't.
Well, Chris, I'll say this. I will say that our women are actually exterminating themselves due to their lack of complicity. Meaning, when you disregard good black men, hardworking black men, because you feel like they're not good enough, then they're becoming pariahs of their own arrogance. And similar to some of the guys in this space, you know, their arrogance will cause them to be pariahs, meaning other people will cast them aside. And so, you know, like you said, Chris Strongheart can take his gene to Brazil, Africa, or Colombia, and he can replicate the black man. So black men don't get me wrong. I think most black men would prefer ADOS black women, ADOS women, but unfortunately, a lot of ADOS women don't qualify, especially when you vote for people that come up with policies that are detrimental to us long term. But Chris, we're about to sign off, brother. I have to run. But Chris, thank you for your discussion. Thanks for the discussion, Chris. What did you like about the show, Chris? Real quick, in about 2 seconds, man. What did you like? Two minutes. What did you like? And guys, please get the likes up. Please share this show because there appears to be a warfare in the manosphere. But Chris, real quick, 2 minutes. Thank you, brother. What did you like about the show, man? How was it relevant? Real quick, 2 minutes.
Man, definitely relevant to the topic. Definitely relevant to what's going on, and definitely, you know, down to the point of how brothers need to be aware and cognizant of pitfalls that can happen even within our own manosphere. We still have to be aware. You know what I mean? Like the red pill awareness is there for a reason. I mean, obviously, I like hearing your viewpoints. You know, I appreciate you having the show, brother. Being able to have, you know, this type of platform, and hearing brothers speak from their points of view. I mean, it's great. It's a real great building. It's good to be able to have these kind of conversations and stuff like this, because a few years ago, we didn't even have these type of spaces, and it's really good. It's therapeutic to be able to, you know, talk like that and have the meeting of the minds. You know what I'm saying? So it's real great. I thank you for having me. Like I said, as usual, if anybody's looking for me, you can find me at Chris Strong Art. That's Chris with a Z. Strong Art on my IG. Also, same thing in my website. If you're looking to get into my work, what I do, my prints behind me, I have hats, t-shirts, merch. I got the whole nine. And if you're looking to get work done, like I said, I do designs, logos, illustrations for anybody who's looking to get something like that done. And contact me at IG. Shoot me a message.
Yeah, Chris does a great job, and I'm about to bring out my shirt soon. Chris did. He did the design work, so I'm gonna flex on Chris. And at some point, we're gonna have T-shirts called "The Fat Meat is Greasy." So the fat meat is greasy. I'm about to do a show on that soon.
My G.
It's gonna be fire. It's gonna be fire. But listen, guys, I love you guys. I have an abiding love for the brotherhood, and I want you guys to stay strong. I want you guys to stay resilient. And I want you guys to start loving yourself. And as a clinical therapist, I'm going to do everything in my power to bring clarity to these discussions. And I want you guys to remember this. Are they ready, Chris? Are they ready, Chris? Yeah. I want you guys to remember this. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right.
Right.
Signing off.
4 in the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, this kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say